Hello, everyone. Welcome to our stream. We've been wanting to do this one for quite a while. Introduction to myself. I am Ben, game manager over at Tilting Point, working on Star Trek Timelines and Star Trek Legends. Joe, please introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm Joe, executive producer on the same projects Ben works on. And today we're going to be making a cab or character art brief. It's more of the brief in general. We're also going to be making some design decisions. And just to sort of go through how this is going to work. So we're going to go through the documents. We're going to have some things that are entirely sort of player driven. We'll put some polls out there, and based on those polls, that's the decision that we're going to be making with the cab. We're also going to be taking some sort of suggestions from chat, either finalizing decisions here or sort of finalizing them with the various departments later. Um, and then in other cases, we'll take some suggestions and then incorporate those into another poll to sort of finalize some decisions on the character. So hopefully a fun and interactive experience. You get to see a little bit about how our character creation process works. Um, and yeah, I've done a ton of prep for this, of which we're going to use like a percentage of it. Anything else that I missed, Ben, before we just sort of jump into it?
No, I mean if this is something that you guys enjoy, definitely let us know. Maybe we'll do it again with the like 15 other examples that Joe put together behind the scenes. But yeah, no, we've wanted to do this for a while, so I'm excited. You guys have a lot of power into how this crew comes out, so we're really excited to see how it comes out, and for you guys to just
Perfect.
get a little bit of background as to what our process is like.
Yes, all the badges. Yeah, so just to get started, so this crew is going to be slated for a continuum crew, so 5 star in the sort of epic level chain rewards and the continuum missions. Um, and the first question we're going to ask y'all is what series do you want this crew to come from? So let me pull in the stream prep
I can
document.
post it there.
Oh, you got it. All right.
Yep.
So there's going to be a straw poll. YouTube polling only supports 4 options. So some things we'll have to use a straw poll. Other things we'll use the native YouTube uh, thing, and we'll go from there. Oh, 1 second.
Perfect. So click on the link I just posted there and vote for which series we want this crew to be from.
Give me 1 second. Um,
Whatever's needed to get Giant Spock. Okay. Lower decks, really? Wow. Me, I'm a big Strange New Worlds. I'm on that kick still. I'm on the high of Strange New Worlds still. But yeah. Do I get to vote too, Joe? Can I do this too?
no.
Okay.
let's
Oh,
let's
it's
let this one
close.
be
It's a very
purely.
close vote. Wow. When do we call it? Do we give them another minute, or is there anything else we want to go over and explain while we're getting the
Oh yeah,
poll?
just for a little context, as far as the next step, we've prepared sort of 3 choices in each category. Um, uh, then so that will determine the next phase of the character choice. Just so um, yeah, and I can go into a little bit of how that works when we get to that stage. Uh,
Cool. Well, I guess while the votes are still coming in, do you want to quickly go over like what this cab is, like where like along the process of creating a new crew, where does this come into play?
Yeah, so it's actually like we're almost simulating the first step of the process prior to the cab, which is we decide on a crew for a particular usage. So we've identified that there's a uh, point in time where we want to update the continuum reward to be a new character. We sort of take a look at the sort of landscape of content around that point, or even the landscape of content within that particular feature. So in the case of the continuum, we've only had the ubiquitous Borg Queen, so that's a Picard crew. But because the continuum feature, it's not a sort of exclusive landing place like the Honor Hall, which has more permanent additions. We have to be more mindful of like trying to spread out the content there. Um, and then yeah, once we have that sort of we want X character for this thing, then that's what seeds the conversations that we have with the cab creation process. The moment that we want from the particular character, um, and then driving those through the design decisions. So I think we can call it. I think we can move.
Okay.
So
The winner is Strange New Worlds.
perfect.
That
Okay.
is the winner.
Um, Alrighty. So the next thing we'll do in YouTube native polling. So for Strange New Worlds, and for a little context, I did this category for all of the series that were included in the request here. So I wanted to include a bridge crew member. I wanted to include a sort of alien, like something that looks different.
It's
Um,
sorry, it's these three here, right, Joe? I'm highlighting on the
Correct. Yeah.
document. Okay.
Yep. You're good. And then I wanted to sort of include like sort of some kind of callback or that kind of thing. So in this case, Goran Hunter is the Goran in the EV suit from the finale in season two. Um, Maybe we can come up with a better name together. Um, King Zach Nguyen is the abandoned yeoman who became king in among the Lotus Eaters, and then 21st century Pelia is sort of Pelia before she became an engineer, as she crosses over with Laan and Kirk in the Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I think it's just three tomorrows. So those are the three characters we sort of pre-prepped. So once we pick one of those, we can move to the next part of the process.
Okay. Poll is live. Awesome. So while that's coming in, just to go over, so with this, I know you talked about Joe. We make this cab and then we work with design, kind of going from here.
Correct.
Um, so process is we make the cab, it goes through design, and then we send that out to get the art created. Correct?
Yes. Typically, a cab is assigned to a designer on the project. We review cabs weekly, and so a designer will basically define the target, uh, statistics for it, sort of the moment they're shooting for, and that kind of thing. Um, and from there we'll review it as a team, have the discussions. We'll have this discussion together later, which is going to be fun, talking about what traits should this character have. So we'll get all into the nitty gritty with that. um, um, well,
Great. Well, it looks
let's look
like
at
Goran Hunter is vastly in the lead with
yeah.
63%. So I think we're safe to go with the Goran Hunter.
Perfect. Okay, so Gordon Hunter, Gordon 60 seconds, Gordon to be wild. Perfect. Uh, the the Gorn that we had imagined for this character is the one fighting Spock in the EV suit. Uh, Kind of the first presentation of the Gorn in Strange New Worlds that wasn't the sort of like primal, like something that clearly had technology, wasn't behind a ship or something. So um um perfect. Um there's a couple potential moments for this one, but I think it's probably best to just capture this character um in the fight with Spock. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Do we also want to say too if so Joe's gonna take a look at the scene that we're trying to capture, get some screenshots, and throw them in the document, Joe, and then we can kind of
yeah.
choose them from there. But also, if anyone in the chat wants to recommend a specific, you know, moment or kind of pose or anything like that, we will definitely look at sites like trekcore.com, Memory Alpha. Those are probably the only two that we're gonna trust from links from the internet. So I'll post them in the chat. And if you guys want to recommend any specific, you know, point from that episode, you know, going through Gordon Hunter, any image from Trek Core or Memory Alpha, we will take a look at, and if we think it's good, we'll throw it on the document, and then we can discuss and choose which one we want to go for.
So yeah, I think we're gonna skip moment on this particular character. They are primarily in the scene where they're fighting Spock, so I don't think there's as many choices as there would be for some other examples that we had prepped in the document. So let's go and solicit some suggestions from chat for what we call this crew. Again, Gorn Hunter was sort of the initial name. However, in the cab creation process, we will go through, and sometimes the cab is literally like episode name and character, and then we have to develop a sort of player facing name, we would call it in this case. But if everyone's happy with Gorn Hunter, we could just move on to the next stuff.
So is he in the EV suit in this one?
Yes, he is in the EV suit fighting Spock in the scene.
Okay.
I've got a decent shot of sort of his profile and costume detail, but there's definitely some more detail we need to provide in the cab to make, you know, good art of it and sort of capture the sort of impact this character had.
Great. So we have a few names so far kind of outlined. Are all of these acceptable, Joe? Or should we? We got a few more coming in.
EV suit Gorn, Cayuga Gorn.
I'm putting them in the document.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place. Yeah, I think Gorn to be Wild and Gorn in 60 Seconds are fun names, but I don't think we're going to be naming it that. Yeah, we could do EV suit Gorn. Cayuga is the name of the ship, correct? That they sort of encounter on. Yeah, we could also do something like Gorn Infiltrator. Cool. All right, so a lot of people liking
Gorn Hunter, EV suit Gorn. I can throw a poll up for that.
Yeah, let's put up EV suit Gorn, Gorn Hunter, Cayuga Gorn, and let's call it Gorn Infiltrator.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks, Stephen, for the extra context. Based on what chat's enthusiasm is saying, it sounds like it's probably gonna be EV suit Gorn, but we'll see. We'll see what the people that aren't chatting vote as well, because there's another 45 people here.
Okay, poll is live. Yeah, I mean I think this one's more straightforward because we've kind of set a precedence with EV suit crew within Star Trek timelines. We typically name them EV suit X, EV suit name of character, right? EV suit Archer, EV suit Picard, or whatnot. So I think this one is a little more straightforward than some of the other ones that we would typically have more discussion about.
Yeah, this guy is freaky. Did you know that this was puppeteered? Like, this wasn't CG or anything. This was like
oh, really? I did not actually.
Like
that is
style
that is
puppets, and I think it's been enhanced with CG. But
Gorn on the Cob. Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay. EV suit Gorn. EV Suit Gorn is in the lead. Gorn Infiltrators at 23%. Gorn Hunter 20%. EV Suit Gorn 49%. So I think
Cool, cool,
we are
cool.
good to move forward with EV Suit Gorn.
Cool. Let me pop his name in. So character name is EV Suit Gorn. Symbol will be Gorn EV Suit.
And the
Image symbol.
and the
Yep.
symbol is oops, I am not on the right. There we go. The symbol is a development crew symbol that we use to basically reference the crew in any way. So when we want to release this crew in the continuum, we will add that crew symbol there, Gorn EVC crew, to the continuum loot area. Yep. And then image, this is the kind of base that we use there in order to reference, for the designer to reference the image when the image comes in, because a lot of times the art will come in sometimes before, but sometimes even after the designer has had a chance to create the crew with the different skills or whatever. Check all that stuff in, and then they have the image symbol there that they can reference. So it's not like we have to wait for the image to come back in before the design team can start plugging in what numbers they want and how powerful they want the crew. So then at the end, even if the design is done, QA might be able to test the design side of it and the equipment side of it and whatnot. Then we can check in the art, and then it should, if the image symbols are matched up, the next build, when the art comes in, it'll just be there. Awesome.
And this guy's spooky.
Spooky guy.
Yeah.
Do we have any images that we want to throw up on screen yet?
Nope. So let's start talking the next one, which will be the skills. Right, am I following on the prep document? Yeah, so I have to name skills. Oh no, skill, ability, and focus.
Right.
We have sort of 4 core targets that we would like to consider for this particular crew. And just to contextualize those, it's sort of their applicability to a particular feature. Obviously, this is an EV Suit crew, so it's going to have some collection value in the EV Suit collection, but it's also going to be Gorn. We can come up with some other traits when we have that conversation. But for this skill targeting, we would like to decide with chat whether we want this crew to be sort of a voyage focused crew, which would mean they have a high combined proficiency in base, gauntlet style crew, which would be a higher range and proficiency focused crew, more of a shuttle or faction event, which is high bases, or something for ship battles where we would focus on a ship ability. If we do select ship battles, we are not going to select the ship ability, but we'll work with design to sort of make that final call. But that would be sort of instructing the finalization of this cab, which we'll do outside of this to sort of be like, oh, okay, like we want to make a killer ship ability for this character. Similar to the Voyage Gauntlet and Shuttle things, we're not going to be designing the exact stat ranges, but we will choose the skills, and then design will sort of finalize, okay, we want this guy to be 1380, whatever.
It's also good to know too, like the scene as well. Like what is EV Suit Gorn doing in this particular moment, right? Yeah, like is he doing something on a ship that warrants a really good ship ability, right? We want to try to be very authentic to the moment that we're trying to capture as well. I'm seeing a lot of votes for Gauntlet, which makes sense for the moment.
Yeah. lot of great, like there's almost basically like a full turnaround reference as he's sort of losing his oxygen, which we can sort of
Oh yeah,
reference. But
great.
yeah, there's a lot of things to consider. His tail, his facial expression. I think that'll be probably the most fun to sort of make some decisions on, and then we'll sort of fill in the sort of pose based on how it's easy. It's almost easier to work backwards from like, oh, we have the head and face in a specific direction. How do we build the pose off
Hmm.
of that? But um,
Cool.
cool.
So we have 44% Gauntlet, 28%
Wow,
Voyage, 18% Ship Battle, 10% Shuttle. So it looks
all
like we're
right.
making a
Let's
Gauntlet crew today.
make it my gauntlet crew. Similar as Ben was saying regarding like authenticity, we're trying to, represent this crew in a way that sort of re-emphasizes their moment, the scene, their the threat that they possess. For the skills, we're going to do another straw poll because we're outside of the four that YouTube polling provides. And I think we're just going to use the top three. So I think everybody's going to have 3 votes, and we'll work those 3 skills. And then maybe we could do another poll with those top 3 to ask which one's the primary, and that's
Primary,
something we can do
secondary.
with YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
I do
let's
see
sort
a
of
few
use the.
questions I want to catch up on.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
uh, will this crew be available outside of Continuum? So it'll be exclusive to Continuum for, I believe what we did last time was 4 weeks. Um, and then after that, it'll uh, be taken out of Continuum. And then I believe probably the next Premium Portal update will be added to the Premium Portal, but that could be 6 months to a year, right? Or a year. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it would fall. So our next premium portal update, this will actually probably be released after the next premium portal update, or around the same time, and then or just before. So it probably would be incorporated in the early 2025.
Way to spill the beans on when our next portal update is. No, it's fine. I mean,
Whoops.
we have a, no, we have a pattern, and players know by now, anyways. But uh, cool. So yeah, the this crew will be added to the premium portal eventually for sure. But while it's in Continuum, give it a shot, especially for people who haven't really played Continuum much. We've made some reward adjustments, and yeah, definitely give it a shot. Um, cool.
Yeah,
I
this is an
post.
interesting conversation that people are having in the chat as well, as far as like, like there's a too many security characters and that kind of thing. Like, and there's a clear vision that somebody might have, like, oh, like this person's, you know, clearly combative, like they're clearly, they're trying
Right.
to fill in the vision, but then there's that tension with like, I've got plenty of
Being authentic. Yeah.
security command characters. I don't need another security command,
Right.
that kind of thing. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, I definitely think security makes sense for sure. Um, yeah, engineering, security engineering.
currently it's security engineering medicine, for the top 3, and we can talk about sort of the uh,
It's close
arrangement
though.
of
It's
those.
it's so close.
Yeah, a vote or 2 for command. We'll definitely swap that with medicine. So there's still a handful of people that haven't voted, who are at least lurking in the chat. So we can give it another minute before
Yeah, I
we
mean,
sort of progress to the next thing.
does does med make sense here for this character, or is this more of a
We have loosely used the argument for Med. Um, I don't know. Is he surgical with his strikes? He seems more of a brute force kind of character. But we have what's the word? We have made that choice in other crew to be like, no, even though it might be more authentic to give them command, we think that this arrangement of skills, there's an argument for it. I would be curious what the argument is for med in this particular Gorn.
Yeah,
But
I want to be convinced. Whoever votes medicine, please uh, put your argument in the chat.
I think they are making the argument from a pure mechanical standpoint, which I think is valid.
Yeah.
Med is the Gorn is trying to plant eggs. Thanks, Frank. Uh, um, yeah, I mean, you could argue that maybe he has inherent like abilities that make him difficult to. I don't think he's
Med
regenerative.
science maybe being
Well, the
EV
truth is, we don't
suit,
know
you know.
much. We don't know much about this Gorn other than he
Yeah.
attacks Spock and Chapel, and yeah, that's
Anybody expecting
that
anything
it
but
was.
brute force from a Gorn is just silly. I would have to agree.
Yeah. Well, they must have some method of med because the battle takes place in Sydney.
Okay, so we have security with 23 votes, engineering with 21 votes, medicine with 13 votes, and command with 12. So I think
You want to use all four to do
uh,
primary, secondary,
secondary. Oh,
tertiary?
yeah, I can do that.
All right, perfect.
Okay. So am I
No, we're doing
doing?
three skills. We're doing three skills. Harry,
Yeah.
Stephen. Yeah.
So primary, secondary.
Who's to say this Accord isn't the leading court doctor? Yes, his methods. I don't know. Maybe he's a Gorn diplomat, Frank. Like I don't know. Maybe this was first contact or something, right? Like this is their way of saying hello. Um, Counselor Gorn. Oh, jeez. Okay. While you hash that out, Ben, I'm going to start populating the document with a bunch of images that will go into.
Okay. Yeah, I like going through this process and seeing the players going through it too, so they can understand. Uh, a lot of the we have a lot of heated conversations sometimes about the situations and the different crew, what they should have. Um, so it's always fun. So we have security, engineering, and medicine, and then we had command as well. So am I doing? So I'll just do one poll with all those three, and then whatever gets the most votes will be primary. Whatever gets the second most votes will be secondary, and then third tertiary. The poll is live.
His face.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of votes being moved around. Security has a big lead now, and now people are going to move maybe to engineering, medicine. It's going pretty good
Can
though.
you vote three times though, Ben? Can you vote three times in the poll?
Uh,
We might want to do three polls for each skill set.
we could do that. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It also just gives me a little more time to start prepping the next part
Sure.
of the document.
So let me create a new poll. Primary skill. And we will do. Yeah.
And this guy has some pretty cool cool options for
This
poses.
guy is cool. I remember we were doing a dry run yesterday, and looking at the different characters out of the potential pool that we have. I remember
Yeah.
saying to you, Joe, man, it would be awesome to do with the Gorn Hunter. So I'm happy. Security Command Engineering, primary skill, poll is up.
Yeah, I can share in the Discord afterwards, sort of like some of the prep that I did for the stream, a little behind the scenes, um, just to see what could have been, right?
I don't. Okay, so I scroll down to some of the facial stuff. Do you want me to put that stuff?
have we figured out all the skills?
Not yet. I guess I'll put that back up.
Yeah, no, I'm still prepping that part
Okay.
of the document.
Okay.
I've got 3 poses.
All right. So security won the primary. Not a surprise.
Mark this as A, B, C.
Secondary skill. We have engineering. Medicine. And I believe the other option was command.
Yeah, command was the 4th one. So security is primary.
Security is primary.
Right. Engineering, med, command are the last two.
Okay, secondary. Still have a few more votes coming in, but it's pretty much a clear landslide victory for engineering. Engineering at 67, 66%.
Awesome.
Okay, and then I will do the tertiary.
Perfect. And then before we get to the art stuff, we're gonna start talking traits. We're gonna start that'll be sort of solicited from chat, just suggestions. If there's any arguments, we can probably bring up to a poll, but I think for the most part, it's about identifying all the potentials and including them. So with our powers combined.
Medicine and command for the last one. I like that argument, the Gorn being very surgical. Makes sense for medicine.
I think we've used that argument in the past for some other crew. So
yeah.
I think that's totally
We just really need a 7th skill, is what we really need to happen.
oh god.
No, just kidding. It's pretty close, but it's looking like medicine may take this one. And I don't think we already have a Gauntlet focus crew with this skill set in order, I believe. I know we have some that are good in security and engineering, but I don't think medicine's the 3rd. Okay,
I'm sure somebody is going to correct you
probably
in 30 seconds, but I also don't know that, but
yes, I see some players. 100 quantum on the web store. Yes, I did change that. It was 5 yesterday. If you collected 5 yesterday, you can still collect 100 today. It was our first time giving out Quantum on our web store. I wanted to make a small amount just to make sure that it worked properly. I did a bunch of testing myself, but in case anything goes wrong, because at this point, who knows? Yeah, 100 free Quantum on the web store right now. Go check it out. Actually, while I'm on the topic, another quick kind of update on that. We resolved the issue yesterday with friends lists. The friends not appearing on your friends list. That was resolved late last night. And then we understand that a lot of players have been experiencing server errors right around noon Eastern every day. It even causes potentially some disconnections and some crashes. We made an adjustment on our backend earlier today, so we're hoping that makes a difference. It's a temporary fix for right now while we work on the more permanent fix. But we'll see how the weekend goes. But it should be better. So again, apologize for any inconvenience that's caused anyone there. Once we have the more permanent fix, we plan to send out some compensation around it. Okay, what do we got here? All right, the big yellow bird has the same order. That is true. Big bird as I call him.
Is he a 4-star or a 5-star? The Big Bird. I think he's a 4-star, right?
I think he's a 5. No.
A swole bird or the other one?
The I can't even pronounce it.
I should probably call it something different. So.
Than Big Bird.
Well, there's two yellow birds. There's like a buff one, and then there's like the original one that we released. David from it's just store.StarTrekTimelines.com, the web store. Olik.
Yeah, let me I'll just post it in the chat.
Cool. Char. That's the other one.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Let's. So we have medicine. Sorry, we're doing it backwards. Primary security, engineering, medicine is what we're doing.
Security, engineering, medicine. In that order.
Security. So we'll do primary core sec, secondary core. Skills, sorry. Security, engineering, and medicine. All right, let's talk traits. Non-human, organic. The series is SMW.
Do you want to explain the difference between the visible traits and the hidden traits as well?
Yep. So hidden traits are functionally they're the same system. It's just that one is searchable and sort of feeds in more specifically to features. So the visible traits, like the trait Gorn, for example, is going to be a visible trait, and Gorn is a trait that could support event bonus, or it could support gauntlet sort of bonus for considering of crit chance and that feature. So the distinction is one is sort of visible and searchable within the game, and the other one sort of supports some other sort of subsystems that aren't searchable. So collection, for example, is a hidden trait. So the EV suit yep. Will be a hidden trait for this particular crew. Yeah, so for example, non-human is primarily used in the cadet feature. There's a cadet challenge that you need non-human crew.
Right.
So yeah, they support a couple sort of subsystems, but they're not as like mechanically driven as for event competition or other various features like voyages, gauntlet, or otherwise. The equipment system also leverages traits.
Okay, so what traits are people thinking? Thinking maybe brutal?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay. Does he show? Is he?
Probably
Well,
duelist.
dual. Yeah, duelist. What about? Um, I know the other Gorn has desperate, but I don't know if that feeds into this one. This
It's
instance,
pretty
I guess.
desperate for oxygen come the end,
Yeah,
but that's not the moment we're
we're
capturing.
capturing. Yeah. Gorn as a trait. You already have that. Okay. Looking for traits.
Caregiver.
Caregiver. Survivalist.
I can see survivalist.
Yep. Hunter. I think Hunter makes sense. I'm also see Scavenger.
Don't believe
Do we have
scavenger
Scavenger as a
is a
trait? Yeah.
trait. Primal, yeah,
Primal.
I think that
There's a
makes a
good
ton of
one.
sense. Yeah,
Actually, I
that
feel
makes
like
a
the
ton
other
of
Gorn
sense.
should probably have that too.
So I want to make a ticket.
Yeah, I'll just.
I mean the other Gord is like such a I don't know like it's
Well,
so
I guess it's
interesting
different.
directly comparing
Yeah.
them,
No, that's true.
but like the implication, right?
Right, because in the other Gorn's case, that's you know he has a rock over his head. Like that's very primal, right? This case is much a little
Yeah,
more different.
I'm seeing some other suggestions. Yeah, we're not bookending, so the distribution of the new traits is going to be as we sort of release these sort of sub features as they come out. So when we do the trait audit, I think the first one we're introducing is playful, and then we'll be sort of releasing the other ones and updating the crew sets in the later releases. So vengeful could make sense, and we would apply that when we do that. Interesting.
Marksman.
Villain's another one that I'm curious how other people feel about. Like, does it need to be like a Vatic or Osira or you know what I mean, like or a Khan, like somebody that has like this sort of direct impact, strategically planning sort of anti-fit like in this way he's almost like a not a foot soldier of this, but I could see the argument for villain or against him. I'm curious how people feel.
What
I
about
like crafty to represent
yeah,
represent this sort of stealthiness. I like saboteur.
resourceful?
I can see resourceful if we feel like they need a couple more traits, but
Yeah.
let's see if we can get away without using resourceful. Um, it's definitely like he's sneaky. Yeah, I think 8 is a decent amount of traits. I could see maybe them even inheriting vengeful as we release that trait.
Mm-hmm.
I might want to call it here unless people feel strongly about villain or I agree that the Gorn are the big bads of the Strange New Worlds. But this is like the difference between like, is this a Borg drone versus Locutus, right? Like, is this uh romantic will be the go.
Romantic because they lay eggs everywhere. That's funny
Veteran.
argument.
There's some
Oh,
implication that this is a
yeah.
survived Gorn warship. Um, Displaced, I don't think he would be defined as displaced. All right, I think we'll put. You think definitely villain? Okay, because this wasn't like someone that they were aware of. They had sort of
Wasn't like the
crossed
center.
like.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I could see tactician as well. That's interesting. All right, let's
Do we want to throw one more in there?
before we lock trades.
Looks like we either have tactician, uh, veteran, or villain, or the big ones that I see.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about
those could make
villain. Yeah.
Ben. I think you also need a riff. Oh, wait a second, I'm paused. Oh yeah, it's filling it. Never mind. I was like looking at the stream. I'm like, I haven't seen any of the work that I've been doing on the screen. Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of veterans.
Before we lock
I'm
traits
I'm
in,
gonna make
will there
I'm gonna
be?
make I'm gonna make the final call and say let's let's be veteran. Let's duplicate everything.
More of an enemy, not villain. Yep, I would have to agree with that.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's like the difference between like a Borg drone that, you know, they have a hand-to-hand combat with. Maybe they are named something, but
Do we?
uh,
I'm
it's
seeing a
not
lot of
love changes.
tactician or villain. Should I just do a quick poll for last
10
trait?
traits is a lot of traits on a single crew.
Well, to either veteran or tactician.
Uh,
Or
to
should we leave
replace
it at
veteran,
veteran?
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure, yeah. If you want to do between those two, I think that's fine to end on, and then we can move on to the next step.
Veteran.
We're having too much fun. We're already 45 minutes in this process.
Okay. Poll is live. Ooh, it's tied. Oh, it's going back and forth.
Not seeing the next Gauntlet crew. I'm wondering if they migrated to the new sheet
Did we
structure.
not have it at least outlined for which month that would be?
We transitioned a sheet, so I'm wondering if it was just. I'll figure it out later.
Okay. So we have. I mean, even because it's pretty far out as well, we can always, if it's a crew that would have the same skill, we can make an adjustment.
Yeah. What was
with that future
was the last
crew?
one crew? Well, the last one was Ometaclon, right? Somebody will correct me. Oh no, I see who the next one is. Okay, never mind. I got it.
It's looking like tactician.
Yeah, so around tactician over veteran. Okay.
Tactician over veteran. Tactician 61%, veteran 39%.
Yeah, I can see the argument. Like, we don't know the story of the Scorn. They were clearly tactical and crafty in their approach, but who knows? Maybe this was their first time out doing the sort of spycraft on the Cayuga. Great. Let's start. So Ben, why don't we go down to the well, let's walk through. You can look through the references,
Okay.
just to sort of, and I'll sort of chat through them as you sort of scroll down. Again, I just grabbed a bunch of screenshots from the scene. It's a relatively short scene that we do see sort of the Gorn and has its interactions with Chappelle and Spock. So the goal of the sort of initial references is about context for the artist, proportions, as much detail as we can provide. The screenshots are a little dark. I'll probably do some adjustments to brighten them up to get more detail out of it. And we'll provide the artist the sort of reference to the episode and scene. But yeah, trying to provide as much detail as possible so the artist can fill in where needed. As we get down to the pose and the facial expression, there is this is where we're trying to define the vision for the character.
Pose facial expression. Yep. Okay.
Yep. So if you could go, I prepared sort of 3 poses, and sort of A, B, and C. They're a little tough, so I guess I'll kind of explain them. So the first pose, A, is sort of, he's kind of staring back. I don't know if he's holding Spock or Chappelle right now. I think he's holding Chappelle. Maybe not. So looking back, when we consider this pose A, we would definitely need to be mindful of the positioning of his tail, or her tail. I actually don't know the gender of this one. Anyways, so that it fits in the template. So he's sort of like kind of wheeling around to look at the camera and the
Would it
viewer.
be possible to easily brighten them up any bit, Joe? They're a little dark on the stream. Image options, maybe. Adjustments, brightness.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, just to get a little bit more context. So yeah, so he's sort of wheeling around. In the second one, um, kind of just more standing, 3/4 pose, but sort of directly at the viewer. And for pose C, if we choose it, I'll make a note. We want him sort of more floating in space, but he would be more facing the viewer would be the goal. Um, but sort of the A and B are kind of more anchored, like grounded, and B, if we want them sort of feet down, kind of floating, we have
Yeah, I
that
think
kind of option. So
I kind of like the tail in front on B, how it
I do
kind of
like the
swoops
tail in the front.
around. But I
I'm
do like
wondering.
the side look of A because you get to see a lot of the spikes on the back and like the detail there.
We are going for A. We're going to have to maneuver the tail to be a little bit more like B. So it's more about like the posture, right? Is he sort of like wheeling around, or is he kind of more just 3/4, like
Right.
standing strong, or is he sort of floating in space? So you want to do a poll on this one, Ben?
Yep,
Oh, you did.
it's already up there. It's pretty close between A and B right now. 46% A. 43% A. 43% B.
Classic.
We have more votes though. More votes are coming in. Ooh, B has taken the lead. Yeah, I think that the tail kind of whipping around the front is a pretty cool look. I like how you can see both claws, both hands on B as well, and I feel like it's a
Yeah.
more direct headshot as well.
Yeah, we'll define the head posing.
Great. Wait a couple more votes.
I think we can call it for B.
Okay.
So I'll pull those out. I'll pull A and C out.
B it is.
And then you'll see. And I do think, actually, let me provide one more example for the thing. I don't think the B pose for the facial reference makes as much sense with this pose. So I'm going to provide an alternative one for.
Okay. I'm just gonna brighten some of them up too.
Yeah. So B, this is actually from the same sort of shot, sort of, do we want him like actively snarling, mouth open and that kind of thing, or do we want him more of just like pulling those teeth together, kind of?
Well, I like how in this one in B you can see some saliva and spit, going between the teeth. That's pretty menacing.
Yeah.
Why not have him sitting down sipping on a root beer? Rizacorn?
You want to do A and B in the chat, Ben?
Oops. Yep. Sorry.
No worries.
I'm having too much
Try
fun.
to keep it moving. We're almost at an hour.
A and B. A face only a mom could love. All right. More than half of the votes are in. It's leaning B.
Leaning B, mouth open, perfect.
We're still waiting for about 10. Oh, it's changing.
That's what happens when you talk about it.
I know. It's 51% to 49%. We still have a few people that need to vote.
Incredible.
This one might be a tad too bright. Let me darken it a little bit. They got the lights in there too. It's pretty cool. Okay, I think we're good. B is the winner.
Alrighty. B it is. Fun face. Yeah, and sort of that's initial art complete. Ben, if you wanted to walk down, I'm just gonna show what we sort of selected for equipment. So for a little context, we try to have at least two personal items for any particular new crew. One's typically the outfit or equipment they're wearing, and then one would be another object that they interact with. For the two choices, there's not choices. This is just the two. He's a little limited, and because he's primarily just using his fists to and tail to sort of, you know, throw them around. The first one we want to order is definitely the EV suit itself. It's a super cool design. Definitely want an icon of that. That'll be his sort of equipment. Um, our icon artist will interpret this image as well as the images from the rest of the document to sort of generate something pretty cool. And then for the personal item, and if people like this, hopefully they do. I think the piece of ship shrapnel that he gets connected with at the end is kind of a good reference to
Yeah.
sort of consolidate his character. It's obviously it's not great for his outcomes, but it's at least it's referencing the scene. It sort of builds on the sort of context of the character, and it has a distinct shape that I think we can do it. Calling it ship shrapnel, although maybe it's debris or something else, but we'll workshop the name a little bit. So pose piece of ship. All right, so last bits is a bit of the narrative, and for context on these ones, we can kind of come to some conclusions here in the chat, but ultimately Amber will be making final calls here. So if somebody has a suggestion or idea for the ship line, please sort of make your suggestion in chat.
Do you go over collection? Is that typically that's typically just trait based? I don't think there's any other.
It's trait based. Or I mean, he is the EV suit, which we called
EV
out.
suit. I think we have survivalist and primal, both those. I think we have brutal as well. So I think he might be in 4 collections.
Yep.
Oh, actually, I think more. A lot more, actually.
He's in the Pet People collection, yeah.
He's going to be in like all the collections. This might be the greatest collection crew. Maybe that's why the traits were selected so specifically by the chat. No,
we did curate those. That wasn't.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Tactician and veteran, are they both veterans? Definitely collections. I think
tactician is, I believe. Yep.
So yeah, so that was a choice between collection or collection. Great. Okay. We'll write up some stuff with him with Amber, and yeah, let's take a look at our lovely lizard guide. Ben, you want to start from the top of the document?
Yep. Okay, so character name. We have EV suit. We have a symbol, image for designers. He's gonna be he or she. We don't know, right?
Yeah, I guess.
A 5-star. Be a 5-star. Skills we chose to be security, engineering, and medicine. Visible traits: Gorn, brutal, duelist, hunter, survivalist, primal, saboteur, crafty, tactician. This is pretty much like the max amount of traits that we typically go for, right? Hidden traits will be non-human, organic, strange new worlds, Gordon EV suit, and then gender. We'll have to do some research on that if there is a gender. We skipped a few proposed new collections that are just going to be trait based. This is not an event or theme pack crew, so we don't need the name of the event or theme pack. We will Joe will add in the episode reference just to give a little more a link there for our artist, and then our Jira link, which is our internal tracking system that we use, is Jira. We post that here as well, so if anyone wants to look at the cab, they can look at the ticket and view the status of all the different pieces. And then comments, this is not a pack crew, this is a continuum crew. Ship line we skipped, that's going to be Amber, right?
Yep.
Okay, we have the personal items. Flavor text will be Amber as well, right?
Yep.
The the actor in costume. We have a few references here for our artist, and we'll lighten these up as well for our artist. I'll just do that very quickly while I'm here. Takes a few seconds. All right, these look pretty cool. Oh yeah, that's a pretty cool shot right there. And then this one here. So we're just giving the artist as much reference as we can. And then a nice reference of the claw, I believe. And the mitt. The mitt's there.
Yeah.
The pose and the facial expression, we went with this guy here, kind of on his side, the tail wrapping around, spiraling, and then his head more turned towards us. And then typically on these two, sometimes we'll put in a little note like, we want this lower body, but maybe his upper body a little more twisted or whatnot. So typically we'll put some notes there. I think this one looks pretty good, right, Joe?
Yeah, there'll definitely need to be a sketch of the pose for the artist to sort of frame out the rest of it. But yeah, it's also difficult if we do the lower body ones when we have pretty clear human anatomy. So this will be really difficult without just initial sketch interpretation of like, does this make sense? And hopefully the context from the previous shots of what we called the costume shots give enough of the shape of the legs and the tail and proportions to sort of fill that in. Yeah.
And then the facial expression with his mouth kind of open. You can see his teeth, nice shiny teeth from the light. Yeah, it's looking good. For equipment, we went with just the EV suit itself, the custom-made EV suit for the Gorn. Yep. And there's plenty of reference to that above as well. And then we have the ship shrapnel.
Awesome.
Great. It'd be really cool to share maybe after we release the crew or as we're releasing the crew. If we can share any behind the scenes kind of images of as we've gone through development on them. I know we'd probably have to discuss that with CBS or whatnot, but I know like typically, we'll get a sketch first, and then, some art beyond that, and maybe we could show all the different steps. I think players really like that, but
yeah, I think as part of sort of following up on this crew, we can go through some of the other bits of the process and sort of show it in a post on Discord or something. Because cool stuff.
Awesome.
Great. Yes, thank you all for participating in this process with us. Hopefully it gave you a bit of sort of insight into sort of some of the things that our designers are doing. And we're super excited to release this crew, get it out there, and let y'all sort of rescue them from the continuum. This is fun. This is the fun part that we love to show, and hopefully you appreciate that.
Yeah, and let us know in the comments if you guys enjoyed doing this with us. Now that you guys know what our process looks like, I don't know, Joe, maybe we just send the cab template out there and just have everyone make any crew that they want, and maybe we have a not a player's choice thing, but like a player's vote or something. I don't know if we could do
A
that or not, but
contest kind of thing or something.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll
That'd
have
be
to
kind of
ask.
fun.
We'll have to ask what sort of like the boundaries of sort of
Yeah.
those things. But yeah, yeah. I mean, we can provide. Yeah, let's finalize the cab with the team. Let's collect the initial art process because we could get, you know, in some cases the art goes through um you know, multiple stages of approval and feedback. I'm not expecting that as much with this one, unless we internally miss something. That's more for sensitive likenesses, those kinds of things where we get a lot of feedback and have to do loops. Uh, but we can also get permission from our licensing partners to sort of go through that process and share it. I don't think they'll have a problem with it, but you know, never hurts to ask. So
Right.
yeah, thanks everybody for participating. Glad it, you know, fun stuff, and it's good to have fun together.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.